You can smell all those herbs, the butter, the vegetables. It smells amazing. Hey friends, I'm Laura Klein, co-founder of OrganicAuthority.com, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to teach you how to make sheet pan chicken. That's sheet I couldn't help that, sorry. Sheet pan chicken with roasted vegetables and smashed potatoes. And we're gonna use beautiful rainbow carrots, which I absolutely love just because they're so gorgeous. So I'm gonna use a whole chicken today. I know a lot of you are gonna be like, well, can I use the chicken parts? Can I use, skinless, boneless? Sure you can, but you're not gonna get as much flavor. And by the way, when you buy a whole chicken, you're actually gonna get the best price for that chicken. When you buy chicken parts or anything in parts, you're always gonna pay a premium on that price. So this is my whole chicken. I went to the market the other day. I went to my local market. It is locally raised. I do highly recommend, if you can, shop at your local farmer's market. Support your local farmers. Buy a chicken there. If you don't have a local farmer's market, just go to your local grocery store and get one. And if you can, find a humanely raised chicken that isn't raised without all the extra ingredients that we don't want in our food today, like antibiotics and like junk feed. So you want something that's raised clean and it's in natural habitat and environment. Okay, so this you can see, this chicken actually still has the neck on it, which is good because I like to use the whole chicken. I don't waste anything. Whatever I don't use, I actually use it to make stock or other dishes with. So today you're gonna learn how to cut a chicken in half. So first up, we're gonna remove the backbone. So I've got my chicken here, and I've just kind of got it nicely laid out. You kind of get to know the chicken a little bit, kind of touch it and feel it and see where the bones are. And we're gonna come to the back right here at the tail end, and we're gonna use some really sharp kitchen shears. If you don't have sharp kitchen shears in your kitchen, I highly recommend them. They're a staple. I recommend them to anyone and everyone because you can literally cut out the back of the chicken. And by the way, today we are gonna use the whole chicken. We're gonna use this back and we're gonna use the neck. And I'm gonna cut this off down here because we've got some extra skin and we want this to release. Okay, so this is what the back and the neck looks like, okay? I'm gonna set this to the side over here. So next, we're gonna flip the chicken over. I'm gonna kind of lay it out flat here again, and I literally just cracked it, if you can hear that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it down the breastbone. So again, we're gonna take our shears and you just wanna start cutting. And again, it may take a little muscle, and you're just gonna keep going like this. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna loosen the skin because what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a ghee herb like garlic rub that is so delicious. I'm gonna start loosening the skin on the chicken. So I do the breast first, and then you wanna loosen the skin on the leg. You don't want to completely detach the skin. You want to keep the skin attached to the meat because we're going to put the rub underneath there, and you want the skin to hold the rub in. So I'm going to set this aside right here on my sheet pan. It's always nice if you have kind of a small sheet pan to use for this. I want the chicken to be at room temperature because it's going to be easier to rub the garlic ghee butter mixture on the chicken and in between the skin. So this cutting board is now kind of full of chicken juice, so I'm going to get rid of it and get another cutting board. Okay, so I've got a fresh cutting board, no chicken juice on it, totally clean, and we're gonna make the ghee or butter mixture. So we're gonna use a lot of herbs in this because I love creating big flavor. We're gonna use 1 to 2 teaspoons of rosemary. I usually like to add more herbs and more garlic to a recipe than what's normal because it creates a lot of big flavor. I'm probably gonna end up using about 2 tablespoons of thyme here. And they smell absolutely amazing. By the way, you can put fresh herbs in cocktails, you can put them in desserts. I mean, the uses are endless. I'm gonna take my knife now and I'm gonna just run it through my herbs and do a rough chop. I don't wanna do a fine chop on this because if you do it too much, then you're just kind of macerating the herb. And so we're just gonna do a rough chop. We wanna release those essential oils. We wanna release that big flavor because we're gonna add it to the butter. Okay, so next up we're gonna make our, a garlic paste, and we're gonna use a mortar and pestle. And by the way, if you don't have a mortar and pestle, skip it, don't even worry about it. I'm using it because I happen to have it and I really like it. There are some things that I kind of like, I'm old school on, that I just like to use. But if you don't have one, please don't let that stop you. Okay, I'm gonna smash my garlic. This is the easiest way I feel to remove the skin of garlic. And then I'm gonna use the mortar and pestle. And I'm gonna take my garlic here. Oops, I missed the stem. I can get rid of that stem. And I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna add another pinch of salt. The salt actually helps release the juices in the garlic. Next up, I'm gonna take my little rubber spatula and I'm going to just pour this into ghee here. Using ghee or clarified butter, I now have an oil that can tolerate around 450 degrees in the oven, and that's what we're gonna cook our chicken at. We're gonna roast our chicken at 450 degrees. Also, what's really amazing about ghee or clarified butter is that it has this really rich, nutty flavor. And so take that nutty flavor and you're layering that with the herbs, with the garlic, with the salt and pepper. You're adding that to the chicken, underneath the chicken, on top of the chicken. We're also gonna use the ghee on the potatoes and the vegetables, and you add that extra layer of flavor. Remember, we love building flavors. So I'm gonna add the rest of my herbs to my ghee or butter mixture. And then I'm gonna use a fork and I'm literally just gonna like stir this. So we've got our butter mixture here. Now we can actually take this and rub it all over. So don't be afraid to get a little dirty here and use your hands. I do, it's a part of cooking. Just kind of dig in. And so I'm gonna use my hands here, and then I'm gonna start to rub this underneath the skin here. And so this is still a little bit on the cool side, so the butter doesn't spread as easily, but that's okay. What you can really do is, remember, we didn't totally remove the skin. You can kind of like place bits of the herb butter mixture underneath the skin, and the skin is gonna hold it, and then when you roast it, it's gonna melt and it's gonna be super delicious. Okay, so we did one breast, and remember we created a slit underneath the thigh and the leg, and we're gonna take more of our mixture, our rub, and we're just gonna get it in there and kind of do the best we can in getting it to stay in there. Sometimes it gets stuck on your fingers, and so you kind of have to play with it and push it off. Okay, so we got one half of a chicken done. This one, I'm gonna turn this around so I can get underneath this breast. And again, we're gonna kind of move this around. Okay, next I'm gonna salt and pepper the chicken. I'm gonna wash my hands first because obviously we're working with kitchen and sanitation is super, super important. I'm using flaky sea salt. I love flaky sea salt because it adds a layer of texture to what you're eating. And it's just really freaking delicious. We're gonna put this on the sheet pan with the vegetables, and all the juices that come from this, come from the chicken, that come from the butter, that comes from the garlic, is all gonna come out and help build the flavors of the vegetables. And by the way, we can also add more later and baste it. Okay, so here is our chicken that we're gonna roast with our vegetables. We're gonna set it aside for the moment, and now we're gonna prep the vegetables. I've got 3 different colored potatoes here. I love multicolored potatoes. They're just really pretty, they're beautiful, they're also more nutritionally rich, and they're just absolutely delicious. These purple Peruvian potatoes, I really love as well, just for the same reasons that I just talked about. They're just gorgeous. So since I have different sized potatoes here, I'm gonna cut the purple potatoes in half because we want the potatoes to cook at the same rate. It's not all gonna be perfect, but that's okay. You know, really, we just kind of wanna get close. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna halve these potatoes. I mean, that's so freaking cool. You can see the beautiful purple color in there, and they're just delicious. And then we're just gonna boil these in a salted water for 15 minutes until they are fork tender. Next up, I've got 2 red onions. These happen to already be peeled. I found them at the market that way, you know, which is really nice. So we're just gonna quarter these onions. And so you don't wanna cut the onions too small because they'll just cook down really quickly. The carrots are gonna go down the center, and so I kind of put the onions around the exterior. These guys are really rich with nutrition. I'm sure you've heard eat the rainbow. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna drizzle this with the ghee, the butter, clarified butter, that we're melting over here. And what we're also gonna do is we're gonna take that neck and back of the chicken and we're gonna nuzzle it in between here because we want to add like the juices of the chicken. That's gonna also help flavor flavor these vegetables. And actually, I could probably use a little more butter, use a little more ghee. Looking a little dry. I'm gonna salt and pepper. Generously salt and pepper once again. That is sheet pan 1. All right, and then I've got 2 heads of garlic here. Again, we're going for big flavor, right? Layers of flavor. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna cut this in half, and we're just gonna simply put each half around on a corner of a sheet pan. We're gonna drizzle it with, yes, more butter, more ghee. We're gonna add a little salt and pepper, and that's it. Okay, so we've got our garlic heads. I'm gonna place 1 at each corner of the pan, our vegetables over here. So I'm gonna go back over here and I'm gonna just simply place them there. Next up, we're just waiting for the potatoes. I'm gonna check and see if they're tender. We're almost at 15 minutes. And next, we're gonna toss the potatoes in, yes, you guessed it, more butter, more ghee. I'm actually gonna move my bowl over here. I'm gonna use my hot pads just because it's a little warm over here and I don't wanna burn myself. Steam can really burn you. Okay, so we're gonna generously salt and pepper. Once again, remember, we're building the flavors. Literally, I love to salt and pepper after each time I add something new, because you're layering a flavor, layering a flavor, layering a flavor. And I'm gonna add my potatoes on the sheet pan, okay? And we're just gonna kind of gently mash the potatoes. You wanna make sure everything is in a single layer, because when you stack things, that's when you start to create steam. We want the potatoes and we want the vegetables to caramelize. It's gonna add another layer of flavor. And I'm using a spoon to release the potatoes. So again, I'm gonna move the potatoes to the side because we don't want to stack them. And we're gonna put the chicken in between the potatoes. And so the chicken should like lay on the sheet pan only. We don't want the chicken actually laying on the potatoes. All right, so we're gonna move this guy out of the way so I can work with the chicken. So I'm just gonna use my hands. I'm gonna pick this guy up, and then we're gonna gently nuzzle the chicken in between the potatoes. And so you can see, again, kind of like, you know, how the butter kind of gets clumpy if it's not at room temperature or the chicken isn't at room temperature, and that's okay. Because again, you can just kind of lay it on the top and it's going to melt. And by the way, you want to get all these like butter bits off the sheet pan, because again, that's just flavor. We're just adding flavor. Those are really important bits. One more added layer of flavor we're gonna add here. All right, bay leaves. I love bay leaves. You use these in soups, you use them in sauces, you can use them in roasting like we're doing today. So we're just gonna kind of tuck them neatly in between the vegetables. We've got these awesome sprigs of thyme. I'm literally just gonna lay these on top. And then that's it. We're going into the oven now for 450 degrees. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook the chicken on the middle rack for 20 minutes and then the vegetables on the low rack for 20 minutes. And then at 20 minutes, we're gonna raise the chicken to the top rack because we're gonna brown it. All right, we'll be back in 20 minutes. So we've got our vegetables here. I'm gonna pull them out because I'm just gonna rotate them a little bit. I'm also going to I'm gonna take a look at the chicken and the potatoes. These are coming along nice. You can see that the chicken is just starting to brown. The potatoes are starting to brown. What we can also do is, let's see if I have any ghee. Yep. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually just kind of drizzle a little ghee on the garlic. It looks like it needs a little bit. That kind of like rich, deep, nutty flavor. It's really delicious. Okay, so we're gonna move this because we want the skin on the chicken to brown and the potatoes to brown. So I'm gonna move that to the top rack of the oven. Next, I'm gonna take a look at how our vegetables are doing here. Purple carrots tend to cook a little bit longer. We're just gonna rotate these a little bit. The onions, you can see they're starting to caramelize on the bottom. I'm gonna rotate these. We need a little bit of ghee on our garlic here. All right, so this one's going back in the oven. We're gonna put this on the middle rack. And we're gonna set our timer for another 20 minutes. Okay, everyone, our chicken and vegetables have been in the oven for around 45 to 50 minutes. So they're pretty close to being done, so let's check it out. You can smell all those herbs, you can smell the butter, you can smell the vegetables. It smells amazing, and you can smell the garlic. All right, you guys, so we wanna let the chicken rest for at least 5 to 10 minutes. You can do 5, you can do 10. The reason why you don't want to cut into it right away is because you're going to lose all the juices. So let's also check the temperature of the chicken and see where we're at. I like to pull it out around 165 degrees. This may be a little bit higher. I'm putting the thermometer into the breast, which is a thick part, and yeah, this is done. We're actually, wow, yeah, this guy is done. We're about like 175, so we are done.
Laura, how can you check for doneness if you don't have a thermometer?
If you don't have a thermometer, you can also check the doneness by simply cutting between the joint, and if the juices run clear, you're golden. You don't want the pink juices. You want to make sure the juices run clear. And also you can tell too, is if the leg pulls away easily, which I can actually really tell, this is going to pull away really easily, then it's also done. But also check the juices. Okay. So next up, we're gonna brighten up the flavors. Yes, one more time. I've got some cilantro here. I've got some parsley. I'm just gonna roughly kind of chop these guys. We're just gonna do a rough chop. So this serves, I would say, like 4 people. Easily 4 people. Next, we want to plate this. So I am going to just kind of take the chicken. I've got 2 tongs, and I'm gonna take the chicken and just kind of move it over to the plate. You can also see the juices. Oh my God, it looks amazing. And it can be a little messy. You can see I'm making a little bit of a mess here. But that's okay, because really all we care about is the deliciousness of this. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of wanna make it easy to serve. And you can see how pretty this looks. I mean, you have these like gorgeous potatoes that are caramelized. You have these beautiful onions that are now caramelized. You've got this amazing garlic that you can either spread on the chicken or you can spread it on the potatoes. The garlic comes out actually really kind of soft and delicate. It mellows out. And yeah, I mean, this is really it, folks. I mean, this is whole sheet pan chicken with roasted smashed potatoes and vegetables. So I think it's time to take a bite. I'm gonna see, yeah, I can see how loose this is, and you can see how that just pulls apart. And that chicken is done. I'm just gonna cut through. I'm gonna use my tongs here because it is warm, and I'm just gonna pull it apart. I'm gonna put some potatoes on my plate. And I'm gonna get the purple potatoes. I love the purple potatoes, and I love the red potatoes. And we've got these gorgeous carrots. And yeah, let's try it out, folks. Okay, oops. I put a paper towel down underneath. This is another tip. I put it underneath my cutting boards so they don't slide. Really, really super helpful. Okay, so we're gonna dive in here and we're gonna give this a go and see if it's any good. Ooh, yeah, this is actually looking pretty darn juicy. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is really good. You can taste the ghee, you can taste the herbs, you can taste the garlic. You can taste the layers of flavor. These potatoes, what I love about these potatoes is that you can see they're like crispy brown on the outside. Yeah, those are freaking good. That is delicious. All right, you guys, if you want the recipe, go to organicauthority.com, sign up for our newsletter, and remember to like and subscribe right here. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.